It was yet another normal day at campus. I was fuming in anger, my hands were clenched at my sides. My eyes were desperately searching for that stinking creature who was responsible for increasing my blood pressure early in the morning. Park, Jimin, I'm going to kill you. I murmured through my gritted teeth and ruffled my hair, which were wet. Of course, the reason was Park's stupid Jimin. I had searched through the whole campus but didn't find him anywhere. It was as if he had disappeared in the air after throwing water at me. Trudging forward, I decided to check in the library, which was at the end of hallway, though it was the least possible place where Jimin could be. I raked my eyes around in urgency, from rows of huge wooden shelves which were stuffed with books to the rectangular table in the middle where decent students had their face buried in books. And I found him. He was sitting at the corner table. His face was hidden behind a book. He was the only genius who was reading a book upside down. I felt myself shivering with rage and cold, all thanks to him. Park duckling Jimin. I bellowed from the door and instantly felt everyone's eyes on me. I bit my lip as realization hit me. My voice was a few decibels high in the ambience of a library. I'm sorry, I mumbled and bowed as an apology. The students gave me a look like I was a doofus and buried their face in their textbook again. I let out a sigh in relief. My gaze traveled to the librarian who was already looking at me. She was an elderly lady in her early 50s. She glared at me over her glasses. Putting her finger on her lips, she gestured me to stay silent. I nodded, smiling awkwardly. From my peripheral vision, I saw Jimin laughing at me, his hand covering his mouth. A muscle in my jaw ticked. For a second, I forgot the purpose of coming here. I strode towards him with heavy steps. But before I could get a hold on him, he got up from his chair and ran towards the door. I chased him, cursing him under my breath. I felt several eyes boring holes in my skull, but this time I didn't care. Park, idiotic Jimin, you are dead. You are so dead today. I roared in rage. My voice echoed in the empty hallway, but that thing laughed it off. My anger heightened even more. I glared profusely and ran behind him. But to my bad luck and my clumsy life, I stumbled on my steps and fell flat on my face. My hands and legs sprawled at my sides, and I was sure I was looking like a lizard sticking to the ground. The difference was of a tail. I groaned when Jimin's loud chortle fell on my ear. Why do I have to embarrass myself in front of the stinky creature? Pressing my palms on the floor, I pushed myself up and glared at the short human who was laughing his ass off. While he was distracted and laughing, I strolled towards him and grabbed his arm. Pulling him down, I held him in a headlock. His laughter died down immediately. He tried to push my arms off his head, but my grip was firm. Leave me, you witch! He wriggled in my hold. No, how dare you make me wet? I gritted out and yelped when he bit my arm. My grip loosened around him. Do you want to kill me or what? He scolded, rubbing his throat. Yes, I want to kill you with my bare hands. I glared at him, my voice itched with bitterness. No wonder I don't feel safe in universe. He halted and looked at me. His lips twisted in an impish smirk, and I knew he was going to utter, "Eh, did I make you wet, really?" My lips parted, eyes went round, as I gaped at him in shock and disgust. "Get your mind out of gutter, idiot!" I made a retching sound, my face twisted in distaste. "How do you know what I was thinking? Your mind is also in gutter, like right beside mine." He gave me a full-blown smile. I counted to 10, controlling the sheer desire to claw his face. "Stop showing your teeth and give me some clothes to change. My hoodie is wet. I don't want to catch cold." I rolled my eyes when he grinned even more. A breathy gasp escaped my lips when he removed his hoodie and threw it at me. I blinked my eyes, scanning his godly body. I hate to admit it, but he was one fine man, dream man of many women out there. "Stop, me woman." He covered his chest with his hands and dramatically shy away like a new bride. I scoffed incredulously. Don't flatter yourself. I have seen better, actually, far more better than this. That was a white lie. I haven't seen anyone except him, and now that I saw him, I don't want to look away. Yet, I tore my gaze away from his reluctantly. I felt his hard glare on me, which I rarely ignored. Are you planning to roam around like this? You will catch cold. I regretted the next second for uttering those words when he gave me a sheepish smile. Are you worried about me, sweetheart? I grimaced at the nickname and scoffed. Worried, Mike. I rolled my eyes. Really? Let me see how a worried looks like. My eyes widened, and I gaped at him with mouth hanging. I stepped backward when he advanced towards me, a devilish smirk dancing on his lips. I gasped when my back hit the wall. I peered at his eyes, which were twinkling with mischief. He stopped in my vicinity, a few inches away from me. I instinctively closed my eyes when he leaned down to my face. His breath fanned against my cheeks, sending tingles to my skin. Wine! I gulped when he whispered in my ear. I felt his lips on my earlobe, sending chills down my spine. Don't worry, sweetheart. I have a spare hoodie in my locker. I felt his soft lips on my cheeks before he parted away. I snapped my eyes open and found him smirking at me. I frowned in irritation, knowing he was teasing me. You? Before I could strangle him, he ran away, laughing at my flustered state. I'll kill you. I grunted and stomped my feet, but he was already gone. I cursed, but a smile made its way to my lips due to his antics. I entered in one of the stalls and changed my hoodie, which was precisely Jimin's. Due to his buffoonish antics, he ends up giving me his hoodie every time, and well, he never asked me to return his clothes, so yeah, I have four, now five hoodies of Jimin. I don't know how his clothes smell good when he smells like. I sniffed the black hoodie I was wearing and smiled at my silly antics. I'm going crazy, and Park Duckling Jimin is to blame. Stop stealing my food! I shrieked in annoyance because that stinky creature was eating from my plate. His plate was still untouched. I'm not stealing, I'm eating, he said through his full mouth, yet stuffed another spoonful of rice. I scolded him while the other two persons, my best friend Nancy and Jimin's best friend Taeyong, chuckled. It's not funny. I shot a glare towards them and they instantly shut their mouth. And you, I pointed at Jimin who was sitting beside me. Eat from your plate. I squinted my eyes at him, trying to intimidate him. But your food tastes good. He whined as he took a big bite of gingerbread. He was eating as if he was hungry from ages. I sighed and rubbed my face. He was testing my patience and I was controlling myself from damaging his handsome but ugly face. Fine, you eat from my plate and give me yours, I suggested. My voice was surprisingly calm, contrary to the mounting frustration inside me. But that thing shook his head and pulled his plate away from my reach. It's my food, but you are eating mine. I almost yelled at him. I knew it was yet another scheme to annoy me. I felt a frown forming between my forehead when he transferred the food from his plate to mine. It tastes good when I eat with you. I blinked my eyes in astonishment whilst he gave me a cheeky smile. Oh, I snapped my head towards Nancy and Taeyong, who was smiling at me. A teasing smile to be precise. What? I spat, narrowing my eyes at them. How romantic, isn't it, Taeyong? She dramatically batted her eyelashes and that moron beside me dared to laugh. It's neither funny nor romantic. Oh, I need to use the washroom. Unable to bear their teasing gaze on me, I fled away from there before they could see my flushed face. I heard their soft chuckle and I was sure I was looking like a tomato by then. I came out and leaned against a wall. I lifted my hand to my chest where my heart was beating at a wild rate. I cupped my face. My cheeks felt warm. I bit my lip to control the smile that was threatening to form on my lips. I hate him, like a lot, but his little gesture and his cheeky remarks always manage to flutter my heart like never before. What I feel for him is something I never felt for anyone. It was bizarre and different, different in a good way. I stood there, calming my racing heart until a thought crossed my head. I still hadn't taken revenge for his morning prank. Think why think something. I paced around, forcing my brain to produce an idea to take revenge. I grinned when an idea popped in my head. When he'll walk out, I'll put my foot in between and then he'll fall flat on his face. I know this idea was childish and totally absurd, but hey, it was good. Right? It was good. I didn't get time to think of another idea when the bell rang and the students started walking out one by one. I peeked inside and found Jimin walking towards the door. His eyes were stuck on his phone and his hands were busy typing away who knows what. I straightened up and stuck to the wall. It was high time to execute my plan. My eyes fixated on the tile floor where I could see the blurry reflection of Jimin approaching near the door. I sighed and closed my eyes as I stuck my feet in the door frame. Someone, who I assumed Jimin, stumbled on my foot and fell on the ground with a thud. I jumped in happiness and burst into fits of laughter. Yay, serves you right. My words stuck in my throat when I looked down. It wasn't Jimin but Nancy, who was sprawled on the ground, her long hair going in every direction. I covered my mouth in shock. I looked up and found a stunned Taeyong looking at Nancy and a teary-eyed Jimin who was stifling his laughter, covering his mouth with his hands. Nancy groaned, catching my attention. Oh my goodness, Nancy, are you okay? I said, my voice itched with concern as I crouched down to help her. Shoo, you evil! She yanked my hands away and stood up with the help of Taeyong. Why did you do that, Vian? She winced, rubbing her nose. I gave an apologetic smile, which turned into a scold when my eyes met the stinky creature who was still laughing, facing the wall. I. It's because of him. He's at fault. I pointed an accusing finger at Jimin, who snapped his head towards me in a wink. His laughter died down. Excuse me, Missy. How am I at fault? He crooked his one eyebrow, and I swear he looked so hot. Focus, Van, focus. I cleared my throat and glared at him. Uh, if you hadn't pranked me in the morning, I wouldn't have planned to take revenge and make you, her, fall like that. It was supposed to be you falling like this, not Nancy. I stomped my feet, feeling frustrated. Oh my, I think I broke a bone and I think I can't walk. I wish there was someone who carries me home. She leaned on Taeyong, who wrapped his arm around her shoulder for support. This girl knew how to take advantage of a situation. Is it paining? He asked, his eyes reflecting concern. She nodded, feigning a pained expression. I internally scoffed at her acting. Only if I hadn't known about her reality and big fat crush on Taeyong, I would have believed her antics. Would you mind if I drop you home? She tucked her hair behind her ear and smiled shyly. Taeyong picked her up in bridal style and walked towards the exit. She tilted her head towards me and gave me an air kiss, followed by a wink. At least someone's love story is proceeding unlike mine. He murmured and put his arm around my shoulder. I crooked my eyebrows in confusion and craned my neck towards him. What? What? What love story? What love story? You said your love story. Love story with whom? Jealousy crept inside my nerves as I squinted my eyes at him. I didn't say anything. You are putting words in my mouth. He flicked my nose. But I heard, meet me at the park near your house at 5, he said, and I shrugged his hands off my shoulder. No, say now whatever you want to say. I crossed my hands on my chest, turning towards him. Just come. And he did the thing I hate the most. He ruffled my hair and ran away. You. I gritted my teeth, my nose flared in anger. You are dead, Park, stupid idiot doofus Jimin. I cursed him in different ways as I chased him, but that thick skull had no effect. Walking inside the park, I witnessed a new sight. Park Jimin was pacing around, biting his nails. His forehead had uncountable creases and he seemed nervous. I walked over to him and cleared my throat. He looked up and smiled nervously. It was my first time seeing him nervous and it made me more curious about what he wanted to say. Be quick, I don't have the whole day. I flipped my hair, showing attitude. I don't know how to say this. I cut him off. What do you mean how to say? Speak from your mouth. Rolled my eyes whilst he gaped at me dumbfounded. Let me speak, he exclaimed, to which I nodded. So, I know we hate each other like a lot, but I don't know how. It happened. I don't know when, but I don't know anything, okay? Speak clearly. I love you. He blurted out and I froze on my spot. I forgot how to breathe. Everything around me blurred as my eyes turned hazy. Are you messing with me? I swear I'll kill you, Park freaking Jimin. Is this your favorite line? I'll kill you, Park Jimin. You are dead, Park Jimin. He mimicked me. I passed him a murderous glare. Get your mind out of murder mysteries and focus on my confession. I said I love you, and I'm not messing with you. He stared directly at my eyes. His voice and his expressions were serious. I gasped, registering the situation in my mind. You mean you love me? I asked, to which he nodded with a smile. I squealed and jumped on him, squeezing him in my arms. I think I'm going to faint. I love you too, stinky creature. I swayed side to side. He chuckled and wrapped his arms around me. I didn't know you are whipped for me. I lifted my head, placing my chin on his chest. I'm not whipped for you or something. I still hate you, but I love you. I know my words didn't make sense, but who cares? I was enjoying my moment. He chuckled and rubbed his nose with mine. You know the next step? He probed with a mischievous smile. What next step? I asked in confusion. Kiss, silly. People kiss after confession. He scratched my nose. Do I really have to kiss this stinky creature? Before I could protest, his lips were already hovering over mine. He moved his lips against mine and I followed his rhythm, melting into the kiss. My hands traveled to his head and disappeared in his black locks as I deepened the kiss. We both were desperate and passionate, quenching years of thirst through that kiss. At some distance in the bushes, two had popped out with a grin plastered on their face. My ship is sailing, she squealed, witnessing her best friend's first kiss. If you say yes, we can go on a double date with them. He placed his chin on her shoulder and she flushed, tilting her head away. He cupped her cheek and made her look at him. Say yes, darling, yes. The next second, the young's lips were on her, kissing her gently yet passionately. I love you with all my butt. I would have said hurt, but my butt is bigger.